Military shooters are perhaps the purest descendants of the original first-person shooters. Oh sure, we have voice actors now, and motion capture, and millions of shaders, and sometimes an actual storyline. But the basic building blocks are the same. Bullet Sponge Soldier single-handedly takes on an army of faceless bad guys to bring down a corrupt government, or evil organization, or whatever. It all started with Wolfenstein 3D and the Nazis, and it's a proud tradition that I, personally, have grown very tired of. Now look, I get why people like these games. I like the Fast and Furious movies, despite objective evidence that they're formulaic, predictable, and more than a little stupid. But that just makes each one feel familiar, and it's exactly that familiarity that makes me like them. Get some bad one-liners, a stereotypical villain, a street race, some random character who's going to turn out to be a traitor, and then layer on the explosions. It's familiar, brainless entertainment, and sometimes we just get in the mood for familiar, brainless entertainment. Okay, Titanfall brought some fun new gameplay to the table. Sure, Battlefield 1 told some harrowing true stories and features a novel setting. And yes, Infinite Warfare brought us the, remastered version of Modern Warfare. But in the end, people play them because they are familiar, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. That brings us to Ghost Recon Wildlands, which I've been playing this past weekend for the open beta. It is a military shooter, more specifically a Tom Clancy military shooter, which is a subgenre all on its own. It's a little different from standard military shooter fare in that instead of a single bullet sponge, you operate in a squad of 4 bullet sponges, but otherwise it plays very much like other military shooters. I suppose there's the fact that it's in third person instead of first, but that's hardly novel. Oh, and then there's the minor matter of it being an open world game instead of linearly designed levels. Wait, that's not minor at all. Hang on a sec while I check my notes, and these are my first impressions for Ghost Recon Wildlands or whatever. So, yes, this is an open-world game. For those of you not familiar with that concept, in essence it means that there are no levels. Think of the Grand Theft Auto series. The game is played on a huge map with very few restrictions over where you can go and when you can go there. A lot of these games are divided into several regions so as to not completely wreck whatever computer hardware they're running on, but the idea is it's just like the real world. And if you want to ramp a motorcycle into a river, nothing is going to stop you, assuming it's a survivable fall. Now there's a lot to be said concerning the virtues of an open world in a game. Player choice is usually considered a good thing, and an open world game supposedly imposes no limits. Obviously there are still missions or goals of some sort, otherwise it wouldn't be a game. But you can do the missions out of order or ignore them completely and spend your time sniping random dudes for fun. The open world of Ghost Recon Wildlands, combined with the setting in rural Bolivia, makes the game feel a bit like an unofficial Far Cry series entry, and considering the developer is Ubisoft, that's probably not a coincidence. But it works pretty well. I mean, sure, it was a little annoying to me that everything was so darn far apart, and the driving and flying controls were pretty clearly designed for a controller, which is why it totally looks like I suck at this, I promise. I was also a little disappointed to find that there was a maximum height from which I could jump without killing myself, but by and large, the whole experience is well executed and fun. I appreciated my squad of computer helpers, as well, not only because they did a great job of killing folks that were totally about to kill me, but also because they would helpfully teleport to me whenever I rode off on a motorcycle without them. Their lively sense of humor was also useful for morale.
How many nights we've been out here? I'm losing track on my underwear.
You got right side out, front ways and backwards. Then inside out, front and back. I'm right side back. I haven't been changing them.
Yeah, I'm thinking Santa Blanca can smell us from about 5 clicks out by now.
I also appreciated the fact that vehicles in the game, which I routinely wrecked, would put some mountain goats to shame when it comes to scaling a cliff. All in all, it was super fun to blast around this open world for a few hours, taking names and doing rad stunts in cars I stole from random people. But therein lies the rub. Because the game wasn't designed as an open world game, it was designed as a military shooter. The open world is there, and they did a pretty good job with it, there's no doubt. But all of the objectives, all of the missions, they're all very linear. It's not like other open world games with basically millions of little side quests totally separate from the main story to occupy your time if you, get bored of the main story. But at least in the first few hours of gameplay, and the first province of the game, Ghost Recon Wildlands doesn't provide that. You can go and do some other stuff and it'll be fun, but when you get bored of the main storyline and you run out of hills to drive motorcycles off of, you're gonna have to quit the game to find something entertaining to do. If you like the familiarity of a military shooter, the open world in this game is just icing on the cake. You'll enjoy it, so it's probably worth your time. But if what you're looking for is a quality open world shooter that isn't an RPG with all the possibility that implies, this will probably let you down. If that's what you're looking for, Mafia 3, well, that would probably let you down too. Let's see, what open world games have come out recently that didn't... Okay. Looks like 4 years on, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still the best option for that.